Weird science
is the revolution.
This is and should be a Jed MacKay-verse event. This should have just been a tie-in to the Jed MacKay books, which would be Doctor Strange, Avengers, and the Vengeance of the Moon Knight. Those are the things that really could have been a 3-book Jed MacKay tie-in type deal. The whole thing is just a little too, not a little too, it's way overblown. And it just feels like Jed MacKay stuff, which is fine. But you're tying in all these, and maybe I have to step back and realize, like, Jed MacKay, maybe he just wanted it to be. And I wouldn't doubt the idea that he had an idea for a little crossover event of his books. I mean, once you cross over with the Avengers, it's going to be big. And maybe they said, oh, wait a minute, we need a big event. Let's add stuff on.
I wouldn't mind if they took a summer off, though, you know? Like, you don't always have to have it.
Again, it's a summer-ween event. We're in the middle of summer or getting there, and we have a vampire story, and it doesn't really feel, and I'm not even saying, I said to you, going against what you would say traditionally, this should come out in October, around there. I actually think it should come out in like December, January, February, where it's the darkest and coldest, and you kind of get that feel, but they have to have their summer event. It is Blood Hunt number 4, penultimate issue, so a lot should go on. Written by Jed MacKay, art by Pepe Larraz, colors by Marte Garcia, letters by VC's Corey Petit. I will still ask anybody to sit there without looking and name the Blood Coven. Have they done anything? No. I mean, the one died. Megrum, we said maybe. I don't know why I think that is it. We were really struggling. But when I look at it, I'm like, okay, you got barbed wire, you got prism guy, you got giant statue, pissed off lady with a kabuki mask, and some weird thing. That is the unusual. But Bloodstorm 1, Smoke Eater, Cruel, Damascene, and Unusual. Still haven't had my joke of cruel and unusual punishment, but I'm sure we'll get there in the next issue. But what have they been doing? Like, that was supposed to be a big thing. Then in this issue, it starts out the Temple of the First Blasphemy has been dropped on New York City. Now, they do end up saying, oh man, it appears things are really bad. We have this Atlantean temple that fell on. But what scope do you get of this? What are you sitting there thinking that you know about the Temple of the First Blasphemy that would make sense in this book itself to say, oh my God, this is going to do this or this means that? I don't get much of it.
Where do they drop this thing? Like, is it in Central Park or is it just destroyed half of Manhattan?
You know, it's Manhattan and half of Queens. It's now the one borough. It's only and even then we talked about, and you said from the beginning that you wanted to see any sort of repercussions of having a dark force cover the world and make it dark, which you might see a little snow. You might see like what would be a nuclear winter. You might have some ideas that and then you drop an Atlantean temple that looks like it's just humongous on New York City, but all you do is get one page of it. It's like, look at this. Hopefully it dropped on York, PA, but that's too far away. That'd be hilarious. But maybe it dropped on Hoboken.
It dropped on New York.
Right, yeah,
close
exactly.
Enough,
Any York, out. So you end up where you have this going on and like, but what does it mean? Why is that big? I understand that the destruction should, but we don't even get that.
Catastrophic.
So, but you're just there as a, hey, look, an ancient Atlantean temple as a new part of New York skyline. I guess maybe they just needed a partner to go with the limbo embassy that nobody ever cared about. Like, how many things are going to drop in New York besides, like, some guy's pants in an alley? You end up then where that's just there. Boom. Then we go to Doomstot, Latveria, obviously, to see Dr. Doom, where you have Clea and Dr. Strange going to ask for help. We need your help. We need stuff with the door. And you end up, Dr. Doom's like, oh, I guess you're here to ask for help, right? And then we move on
Well, and that's another dumb thing. Like, Doctor Strange died or whatever, but he didn't really die. He's still Doctor Strange, just hologram version.
It's like no repercussions of things. This is like when I say to my wife, when my kids get in trouble, they're not getting in trouble. They just do the same thing. So it's just, business as usual. But they're there, and again, it's like, Doom, you came here. And just even that, you go to a whole page that says, would that be corrective assessment of the situation, Stephen? You can tell me, doctor to doctor about you wanting aid. Of course, that's why he's there. yeah. All this leads to us, and we said, me and you were talking beforehand, you're going to get some big moments in this series that will end up making some books, making some changes, but they don't feel like they're hitting in the story itself. There has been talk, and even in the Timeless book, Jed MacKay at that point saying that the new Sorcerer Supreme would be Dr. Doom. That's all this seems to be setting up. So you have them going and need help. Then we go back to the Temple of the First Blasphemy to see these yucks of a blood coven come out of a portal with Blade. It's just, what are they doing? They're doing nothing. And then you have this talk with Black Panther. And then we go from there just to say, oh man, what are you, Blade? You don't seem like you. What really are you? And he just says, I'm the first Black Panther, the first vampire, my nomad spirit clothed and my fated vessel, the Daywalker skin. I am Varney. And that's what I said would be the case at the beginning. But again, does that have any oomph to it? Because whether or not they have shown it in the Black Panther book, which I'm not reading, but it has to mean something in this main book. And you have to let people know what that actually is and what that means and what's going on. If you're going to tell me that they say that in the Black Panther book, you got to repeat it here.
No, they don't say that he's Varney, but they show a lot of Varney stuff. And this one looks more like a man-bat. The other one looks like just a big sloppy monster.
Just saying the first vampire, my nomad spirit. In this, though, Blade leading into this book, they do mention stuff from before, but right before this, in the Brian Hill book, Blade ended up taking Dracula's blood and using Dracula's powers. That seemed like it would mean more here. And the weird part about that is that actually had me confused. The problem is Varney could never control Dracula. That was one of the things that drove him nuts. He couldn't control him. This caused a lot of problems. I think that might be the way out, but you're not giving us any hints of it here. You're not having anything. It's just everybody is announcing things that might be in other books, but just announcing things just to then go. When you announce that there is the first Temple of Blasphemy, it's not enough to just announce it. We have to know what it is, what it means. You can't just say, I'm Blade, but I'm really Varney, and then move on, because we then go from there. Nothing gets to settle. Nothing feels big, because then we're back to, Doomstadt. And the idea of him saying where Doom seems to have known, that's Varney. And you kind of go, and even then it's like played off like, well, if everybody knows like what's going on, and the idea that it seems like maybe Dr. Doom is manipulating some things to try to get the Sorcerer Supreme stuff, because then Steven says, well, you don't have any vampires in your borders. What gives? And, the Dark Force and all this. And Doom just says, the Dark Force, I'm using the things and I'm going to go the extra step to keep these vampires out. But really, any of this doesn't really hit much, because then he says, I have a wild card. And then you end up seeing the kids from the Strange Academy, and it just
so random.
It doesn't seem right. It seems weird. It doesn't seem like it's something. It seems
they
like
look
a bunch
out of place,
things.
like when they're mixed in with
like
other
all cobbled together.
Yeah,
all right. It just looks like. But you had told me that the Darkhold, that was a personification of a kid in the Strange Academy book. I tried to read it. I couldn't get through it. But again, even then, it just ends up where there's Clea and Steven. Now, remember, the Strange Academy is his academy, but he's barely stepped a foot in it.
I think it's the kid in the suit on the left.
Yeah, I think it's the kid in the suit.
Yeah, but they don't spell that out.
And you know why I say that? It's because it's the one I don't recognize for the most part in the deal. But there he is, hanging. You got Dormammu's, it's cool.
And then there's Gus, too, where sometimes they draw Gus like she's 6 feet tall, or he, whatever, I don't know, and sometimes 50 feet tall.
It was weird, like the sex kind of changed too, and got Toth and stuff like that. I really like the book, but you just end up where he says, I don't need that. I've already taken the liberty of recruiting the student body of your Strange Academy. Now, Steven, give it to me and let us begin. Like, give me the sources. But you just go again, present it. It's just, hey, everybody, Strange Academy. And they're sitting there like they're posing off. What were they doing 10 minutes before this? I see they were drinking some sodas and stuff like that, but they're just hanging. And then we go to Asgard, and you end up having, Tigra and Hunter's Moon. They're sneaking in. I kind of got the concept of what they're doing, but they are going to break out. Khonshu has been jailed in Asgard for quite some time. This is something that I think would be cool. But again, is it cool for the book, or is it cool just to get out of this and then have it going forward, because you end up with a long bit of, hey, how are you going to get me out? I can't help you. You don't have the power. And then just like
out of nowhere.
Again, out of nowhere. Wrecker.
Yeah, where's he? Hanging out with them, walking around?
Yeah, because I've seen he's been around in things randomly that he has that, that stupid Asgardian crowbar. But
he's in he's in Superior Spider-Man. He shows up.
Yeah. So, but random again. Not that the Strange Academy kids are random because they do have a tie-in.
Wrecker is random,
but it felt random connected to Doom, and then all of a sudden Wrecker. This feels like something needed to be set up. This is a huge thing. Again, you are breaking Khonshu out of Asgard, something that has been a big thing in the the Moon Knight book for quite some time. And yet it's like, oh man, we're going to break you out. How could you do that? Wrecker, all right. And then we're going to kind of move on. And then we go, and again, we have, I like here with the Blood Coven, you have Bloodstorm 1, I guess it is. He's there, he's, delivering the blood cup. They're doing nothing. And so the whole play again is, I'm going to take the final step. Vampire was just a pupil form. I'm going to evolve. And he ends up drinking this blood out of this chalice. And all of a sudden everything starts lighting up. And what he ends up saying is he's become the unliving dark force. Again, just announced.
It bothers me too when people say like, I am become. It's I hate that. Yeah.
Now, I have become irritated.
I have become.
How about that? I am become irritated. Again, this is like, it feels like what is happening here is this 5-issue event book really didn't have any pacing. It's random scenes to just announce stuff. And it just feels cobbled together. All of a sudden, I haven't really even been able to sit back and think about Blade and what this means. And oh my God, it's Blade and he's doing this and that. You end up in this. He drinks blood and says, that's it. I become one with the darkness, an entire dimension of darkness. I'm going to consume everything, planets, entire stars. I am become the unliving dark force. And then you end up where they're like, oh no, what's that? And then all of a sudden, Khonshu comes through with a bunch of Moon Knights. So there's a big moon that wouldn't kill the vampires. It's a moon.
They love the moon.
Yeah, I like it. Werewolves, you got the Wolfman. You can show up. Where's werewolf by night? And they're like, oh no, what's that? It can't be. And then you just have a bunch of Moon Knights come out. And then you have the big thing and led by, my resurrected son, my Moon Knight. And I'm like, is that Mark? Because that seems like this should feel.
What was the other one? The Shroud or whatever?
Yeah, the Shroud. Remember, here's the thing. The Shroud only became it so that he could use the Dark Force to be part of the whole, let's, get that and the hood. Oh, nonsense. But there you go. It looks like it didn't feel that big. It didn't feel like
no, you know why it didn't feel as big? Because there's a bunch of nonsense Moon Knights running around too.
There is a bunch of them. And I sat there, and this is the thing. Here's where, when we're talking about this on a podcast, I know that people will make fun of me all the time. I don't like to look like a dummy, and when I do, I get very angry. So I would normally be like, okay, there we are. And my resurrected son, the Moon Knight, I can't even tell you that that's Mark, really. No. I'm guessing the way they're saying it, but I couldn't specifically, oh man, it looks like, I'm like, all right. Ay. And then, you have Blade start attacking, and you have the idea of the problem with Black Panther. He's healing and fighting off the vampire deal, but then he's not. And you have this deal where all of a sudden you have lightning, and then Thor comes out, and he is, and I think this is still remember, he was dead. He got killed.
They've been dragging him around. If you look at the background, you can see they're like carrying him around. And that's
with those sticks, and he had been like decimated, but now he's back.
Yeah, somehow.
But it just, I'm asking everybody listening, does it feel big to you? Does this feel like you're sitting there in any of these scenes like, holy crap, I've never seen, like I'm sending pictures of this to people, or I'd say to you, oh my God, did you read it? Thor's back. Or, oh my God, did you see, it looks like Mark Spector's back. Or, hey, what the hell is this, temple going on? Or, hey, I saw the Strange Academy kids and they were hanging. Like, it just all feels like boom, 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 boom. And then just because this is the penultimate issue, even though it doesn't feel like any real story has been explained, you end up where, hey, that's just fancy talk for avenging And then we have the Avengers just back again. They had already fought, gone, there, boom, Thor. Hey,
I thought they were all dead. I don't know what's going on.
Remember the last time, though, they were kicking butt, and then they had to retreat.
I like that other Captain America team. This team's, I'm over it.
Remember, the big play in the Blessed was big speech by Sam Wilson.
Yeah, I don't like this team.
Tighten up your bootstraps. We're going to get those vampires. We're going to fight them if you're watching this right now. And so in this, you have, and it looks like Black Panther's fighting it off. And then you have Blade who says, come and face the unliving dark force. I want somebody to be on just the side saying, listen, Jude, it's not sticking. You said it twice now. It's not working, but we'll see. And it says to be concluded. It's just also a bunch of just random things that should feel bigger, but they don't. They fall flat because nothing was set up and nothing has a story around it.
Yeah, and then like Black Panther's turned into a vampire, but he doesn't really do vampire stuff. He just, because his Black Panther powers are fighting against it, so it cancels it out.
Against it. And it cancels out, and it looks like he's fought it off here.
So it's like he's not even a vampire. And same thing with Miles. He turned into a vampire, but he wasn't a vampire. So it's...
Yeah, well, remember they gave him that weird spell, and then he was...
But what's the point of even converting?
That's what I'm saying. Like, any of these things aren't really cool.
And then Blade's not even Blade. It's somebody else.
Yeah. Yep. But boy, we got the Captain Marvel. She's herself. Look at her. And Thor. But Thor's
the
back.
Stupid jacket's still going on.
Yeah, look at that thing. And Tony's got his thing going on. Got Vision back. What do we have? Vision's actually, of all the things, if we had to rank the heroes and what they have done, Vision wins. He's the one who killed Megara.
He took one out. Yep.
Took him out. And remember, at that point, they were popping holes in the dark force shroud over the world. But then don't think that's a way to do anything.
Yeah. Vision's the MVP in this.
Yep. MVP, most Vision player, something like that. And again, we have Doctor Strange, and in this, he just goes and says, hey, Doom, can you help us? Please? And then Doom's like, hey, I will if you give me the whole Sorcerer's Supreme. I don't know if I want to do that. Well, I think you're going to have to. Okay.
I think that'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. I don't like that that's how he gets the powers, but I think it might be cool.
Here's the thing, though. I think it would be interesting when we get to a book with that. Not here. It's just
the actual Doctor Strange.
I don't even know. We have one issue left, and I could not tell you any inkling of what you would have to do to kill Varney, keep him from making Blade die. I wouldn't even know the plan. The plan keeps being, let's punch him in the face until they punch back, and then we retreat and then come back again. I don't get it. What would you give this?
I really like the art a lot. I'll just give it a flat 6.
Yeah, I'm a 4. This is the event. This is the main book in a 60-plus issue event. This needs to be bigger. It's just written so boring. It's written in a pace that makes big things feel like they're not as big and they should be.
Weird science is the revolution.